Hi and welcome back to the channel. In today's video we'll look at the HYPERY Lithium iron phosphate battery. It's a 12.8 volt battery with 100 amp hours. And that brings us to 1280 watt hours. So in this video, as always, we'll take a closer look on details and what they delivered it with. And then we'll do a capacity test, and then we'll hopefully do a teardown if it's worth it. In terms of what they provided with it, they actually do have a little manual which will check the specs inside, as well as a little wrench, which is a 14mm wrench for those. I believe it's an M8 bolt here. Let's get started with the battery. First of all, those are the dimensions and also the weight. So I think that's very important for you to understand. And I'll get you closer to the battery now. So this battery housing is similar to a lot of batteries we've seen already. Most likely, I'm not saying it is, we'll see that in teardown. There might be space on the right, left, or any side, but because it feels light enough, but we don't know. We'll see. It does come with a cool feature, which I don't want to hide, which I want to highlight actually, which is here. It does have an on-off button, and it also has a battery capacity voltage display, as well as the typical nylon strap here. We have the negative terminal, positive terminal. It did come with one set of the bolt washer and split washer actually, and to turn it on, we just have to press it one time shortly, and then the display will turn on. And at the moment, before I charge it up, it is pretty low. It says 0% at a voltage of 12.1 volts and 0 amp going in and out, and sits at 24 degree Celsius, by the way. And then it dims, and now you can pull power as soon as you press it for, I believe, 3 seconds. Maybe it's 5. It turns off, display turns off, and also the power cuts off. So that's a pretty cool feature in terms of if you want to have it. Keep in mind, this green light will always stay on. The display not, it will just dim or go in standby, and as soon as you push it again, it will go back on. So that's good to know. Then you can see here in the housing already, it does have, it looks like, hopefully it's easy for me to open up, but we'll see. Might have some bolts which we can take out. We'll see that. Then here the housing itself. Those are typical information, caution with the operating temperature, a couple other things, and do not disassemble, crush, puncture, or incinerate the battery. It's made in China, and it looks like it has kind of a serial number or something like here. Everything else is just a typical black housing, we know. So that means, this part up front here, it's a sticker. Let's move on real quick to the manual, because it's pretty nice. This battery is without Bluetooth, and then they have the HYPERY VB series, and they have the HYPERY VB series models with Bluetooth. So we want to look up here at this one, and we can see that's pretty nice. I don't know if you can see it. We can see it that we do have 100 amp hour. That's the standard capacity. Nominal voltage is 12.8. Then we have a BMS discharge protection voltage of 10 volts. Good to know when we do the capacity test, and we have to recommend a charge voltage as normal. We do have a standard continuous discharge current of 50 and a max continuous discharge current of 100 amp, so pretty standard values. Then we have the BMS discharge cutoff current, which is at 180 amps for 10 seconds, and max discharge current is 350 amp. Oh, that is a high number. I don't think I have enough power to pull this actually from battery to test it. We'll see. And then we have a standard charge current of 50, as well as max charge current of 100 amp hour. And yeah, M8 bolt. And those are the dimensions here again, so that's good to see. Everything else, I don't know if you hear that. I have a cricket in here. I wasn't able to get it out. Sorry about that. I hope it's not boring too much. Regardless, so we do have, I would say, the typical product description and information in here as well. Then we have for the chemistry lithium iron phosphate, they have the charge and discharge curve here, which to talk about. And what I'm looking for, do they have any information about parallel and series connection? It does not look like, no. So they actually don't show anything about that here. Yeah, actually they don't have any more information here. So it's good, it's basic, it tells you what you need to know. So what we're doing now, as I promised already, we will do the capacity test of 100 amp hour battery, lithium iron phosphate, and then we'll come back and disassemble the entire unit to understand what's inside and whatever result it will look like. All right, here we have our setup. And I want to highlight one thing, what I really enjoy. So you can see our HYPERY battery right there, just in the background. And right now you can see everything's connected, but you cannot see anything, any light or anything lighting up. And as I mentioned, there are some features which are pretty cool on this battery. I showed you, it comes with the button, it comes with the battery capacity voltage, and you have to use the button to turn the battery actually on. So it means press the button, now it's green, the battery capacity voltage lights up, as well as this display lights up, so it means power comes to it. I heard already the inverter kicking in, so I turned it off really quick. But let me double check, I did consume already 0.008, so because I forgot to turn off the inverter, so this is accurate. Let's start the capacity test. Let's see how it does. I just charged the battery, so it should be pretty full. And let me give you this banner screen. There we go. As always, I try to get a 0.2 C test, so which means with a 100 amp hour battery, it should be around 20 amps. Usually it starts here with this charger, what I'm using and plugged in to charge another battery. It charges the other battery with 20 amps, but it consumes 25, and the more and lower the voltage gets, the more the amperage does increase. So I'll let this run and we'll get back as soon as we hit 0, or we see what the final test results are. So stay tuned. Well, actually, for you it's more like a finger snap, like this one, you know, those thingies. So here we are. In terms of accuracy, I want to briefly show you 25.5, 25.7, that's what it shows, or 25.9. That's what it shows here. So it looks like there's a 0.3 amperage difference. So we'll see what the test results will be later. Well, I just had a weird surprise. And it's happening again. Interesting. So we're at 10.8 volts, 0% battery. That's at least. That's at least what I see here on the display. But apparently when I start the battery again or push the button, a couple seconds, it comes back up. It says 11 volt. And here it is, 86 amp hours. That's what we got. Phew, okay, that is far off. That is so far off. I'll go ahead and we'll charge the battery another time to full. Maybe it has to do with battery capacity voltage, because it said it was full. Maybe it is not full. And we'll test the second time. Battery is still hooked up and plugged in with the battery charger. I'll unplug it now. It'll settle the voltage. Also, the battery says it's at 100%. It says at the moment 13.9, yeah, 13.9 volts. So we'll see. So it means we'll see if the battery is performing better this time and how we're doing with that. So I'll hook up everything again. The voltage is dropping to 13.2. That's interesting. It still says 13.9 on the battery capacity voltage display. Quite interesting, this drop to see. Alright, I just plugged it in again. The voltage is dropping here. I have no idea why it is, but apparently the battery says it's at 100%. Let me figure it out really quick. Yeah, so even my multimeter says 13.16. That cannot be right. Let me try to... There we are, 13.16. And dropping. Something seems to be off with this battery, and I'm not sure what it is. Let me restart the battery. 13.6. Yeah, that's closer to, it shows on the display 13.7, and here now it shows 13.16. Yeah, also on the voltmeter now. There we go. It is 13.7. All right, so something was off with this button and with this battery in general. So let me try to see if it's fully charged one more time, just to make sure. It is fully charged. As you can see, I plugged it in. I only plugged it in on the terminals, so it's not going through the shunt, but the shunt shows already it is the voltage increasing. And now my charger did stop, and it shows 100% again. That's what it's showing and displaying. We'll start from here. Apparently it's full. And here we can see the confirmation. Yes. Okay, so let's get it set up and let's start the test one more time. All right, everything's plugged in. I'll start the test. Okay, we're getting to the point. We're getting to point 2.5. See, we'll let the test run, and then I'll let you know what the test results are when they're in. Okay, to give you a quick comparison, here we have a 12.67 volts versus 12.9, but it says it is at 36%. So let's see how we continue. All right, it did it again. Let me turn it on again, because it still turns on and then gives back power. It did stop at 86 again, basically what it did earlier. And you can see it's dropping. When you look here, let's see if I can even, it's very bright at the moment. Out here is 11.4. It says 1%, that's all. And it's, yeah, pulling out 31. It seems to be right. 11.3, but it just shuts off at one point. 11.3, 11.2. When you look here, it's at 10.9. So I'm not surprised that it stops. Looks like it can push a little bit more. And now it's at 11. I think it's just dropping tremendously at one point, and then it says it's below. Then it's probably just the BMS which says protecting mode. Or it is weirdly, I don't know, somehow differently wired inside, which we'll encounter and figure out in a little bit. 10.8. This one's lower than the battery shows. Yeah, now it stops at 10.9. I don't know if we can see it. 10.9, here it is, yeah. Interesting enough, I can only explain this with the BMS being configured as very careful, but we got 86 to 87 amp hours out of the battery, out of the HYPERY 100 amp hour battery. I think it's time to look inside just to understand what that means and why, if we may have a chance to see that. So coming back, I still have my cricket in here. Sorry about that, if you still hear it or not, I'm not sure. If not, I'm just saying it. But, so quite interesting, the capacity test 2 times. I reached only 86 amp hours with this battery. So what does that mean? It failed when we just look at a advertised 100 amp hour, but I did also contact the manufacturer. That's a big difference, I feel like, between 100 amp hour and 86. That's a lot. So that would sound more like an 80 amp hour battery, but therefore the housing, everything is too big. So apparently, depends on when this one was manufactured. This unit might be manufactured in 2020, and because of shortage and everything else, and putting it in storage maybe or not, it might have degraded very quick, which is not a good sign, to be very honest. And there is a batch, apparently I received one of those, which only has 86 amp hours, or 80 amp hours, they tell me. I asked why they don't sell it in as an 80 amp hour battery. Apparently that's nothing they will do or can do. I don't know about that. But the new batches should have the 100 amp hour again. Still, for me, this battery failed. And I repeated the test 2 times, not knowingly that this will happen. So regardless of this 86, when you're lucky and you receive the 100 amp hour version of the 100 amp hour battery, if you receive that, I have no idea how the capacity will be like, if it will be below, above, or exactly 100 amp hour. I have no idea because I can't test it. So unfortunately, I cannot give you a good answer for that one. But it's not cool, in my opinion, to advertise it with 100 amp hour, send it out, and just hope that the customer don't see that and realize that. I think that's not a cool move. So whatever you think about that, there might be a batch or new batches which actually do have the 100 amp hour. Yeah, so anyways, I wanted to share this information I received, and we'll move on to the disassemble of the battery. Maybe the build quality is so superior that it's, you know, it's just whatever. I like the battery, whatever they sent me. Or maybe, you know, you specifically request a 100 amp hour battery when you order it. Just make sure that you receive that one because you want it, because the build quality is amazing. We'll see that in a second. But regardless, the last sentence I wanted to say, when you order it and you expect the 100 amp hour battery, you of course compare the 100 amp hour with another 100 amp hour from a different manufacturer. So this would mean you have to compare this price of this battery, 80 amp hour or 86, whatever you want to do, with another manufacturer which offers an 80 amp hour battery, just to compare apples with apples. And then the size and everything else comes into consideration as well. Anyways, we'll continue with the disassemble just to see what's inside, and then we'll check also on some safety features like the cold high temp cutoff. As much as I understand, this is not advertised with a low temp cutoff, so we only have the high temp cutoff as much as I see. So let's do that. All right, welcome back to Toby's Real Skills with Cricut. So here we can see the inside of the battery, and it was luckily fairly simple to open. And what's funny in the housing, I don't know if you can see that, but here they put so much glue on all components, all bolts you can see here, that it just, you know, tried when they closed it already. So that's quite interesting, especially the terminal nuts up here, or bolts in that case. So what you can see here is actually pretty impressive, and as I thought it would be, this could be a Group 24 battery in my opinion. There's so much space right and left, and there's even space here on this side, which you right now cannot see good, but I'll give you a better angle here. Hope this makes sense. So it is impressive in my opinion. So what you can see is definitely a lot of, there are bolts, screws, nuts. Everything is somehow bolted in. They have hydraulic crimps here on the main positive. They have hydraulic crimps on the main negative. That looks really good. They have a beefy 4 gauge wire they use for positive and negative, as well as from the BMS negative to the main negative of the battery. There's a slightly more bent than I would like to see, but it's, you know, you see it, it's good and beefy, it feels like. That's nice. It's glued in here, so all this high density foam is glued in. On the bottom is another one, which is hard to see with the light angle at the moment. The BMS is huge, which I'm a little bit surprised that it's so huge. And I'm wondering, actually, it looks like it has 2 temperature sensors. I'm not sure if that's accurate or I'm wrong, but here's something which goes in here, and there's another something, maybe probe which goes over there, which I'm not sure. So we'll try to test this in a second as well. But that's what I can see. Maybe I can get it more out, but it's definitely prismatic cells, what I can see from up here. Let me try to get it more out, because it's just very interesting. And honestly, the build quality, so far what I see, it's more impressive than the 86 amp hours. Here's the display, which is, surprise to me, looks like, oh sorry, that's on off. Surprise to me here, this wire goes to the BMS. So it means it must read very accurately from the BMS, which is cool to see. On off button goes also to the BMS, so the BMS is shutting on and off. All right, let me try to get more out for you. This is so annoying. Look at the small form factor of this battery. To give you some perspective. So from almost above here, let's say that. Let's be super generous. looks like it's 5.5 inch. And when you just look at terminal to terminal over here, probably generous 10.5. In this regard, I'm pretty sure it's not a lot different. It's probably 6 wide as well. Oh my goodness. Could you imagine this battery? How small it looks? Oh god. Anyhow, prismatic cells. Interesting form factor here. What we can see, so they're longer. Yeah, this is the top. This is where everything is welded together. Oh, that's cool to see. Oh, I'll show you in a second. That's nice, god. I don't even know what to say. This looks actually good. Let me see, this should be just... See this correct? I like this. Hello, hello, my friends. Let me see if I can disconnect the balance leads at least. Yeah, very good, nice. Again, what you can see here, in my opinion, is actually good build quality, and that annoys me a little bit too much. Ah, this battery. Okay, so what we're seeing here, we have the main positive bus bar, just a flat one, which is totally fine because it only connects to one laser, welded. Then we have the bus bars to connect between the cells to make it to a 12 volt pack. This has a little bump in here. I don't know if you see that in the video, but it's really good for contraction and expansion. So this gives a little breathing room to not have too much pressure on the terminals when that happens, if it should happen. And then we have a flat bus bar over here for the negative as well. And this board, what the BMS is on, it's a epoxy board, and then they just put on some adhesive, what is it, high density adhesive, basically, so this stuff, which, nice, I can replace, but that's one thing that is good to see. And then we see that everything has a spiral cable tie to organize the wires, and the wires look actually not too bad. I don't know, yeah, the crimp is different on those ones, it's more like this butterfly crimp, but still it is nylon insulator, so I don't know how I feel about that. As long as they rated good, there's nothing labeled on it, so it's hard to say and judge. But you can see this is the balance leads which go in here. There's the positive, and then we have the negative. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then we also see, I believe, this is an, oh yeah, funny. And, oh, sorry, I have to stop. It's so nice. They used screws, Phillips head screws, it looks like, for those terminals to connect, see that here, to connect the balance leads to the bus bars, which is nice to see. They stick through a little bit underneath, but not too close to the battery at all. So that's good to see. And also, I believe, and I have to double check with that, that might be another temperature sensor. I have to take that off, because then we would have two. And we saw on the display, the bus bar did tell us the temperature. All right, I'm really stoked with that, actually. All right, I did not find any information about the cell as of now, maybe later. And if so, I will post it in here. But regardless, let me double check with the temperature sensors and try to take them off. So yeah, the battery is holding together, by the way, just with packing tape, it looks like. And they have, oh yeah, they have, yeah, just the epoxy board in between, by the way, just to give you also this information. There we go. We're speaking about the BMS, which I don't know where it's from, but I can see, I hope you can read it too, that this is 2023, March. This is very weird. I don't know, the cells must be old and new BMS? I don't know. Here's a serial number or something, so in case you know this kind of BMS, let me know. Okay, I did set here disconnected one of the probes, the other one is still connected to the board, which we'll utilize. I turned on the battery, so right now we can see, I hope you can see it here as well, it's charging with 10.5 amp. I'll zoom out a little bit, we can see, whoop, there is the bench power supply, 10.4. So this gives you also an indication, 10.5, 10.4. It's close, right? And the voltage. And we see 25 degree. That's what it shows here. I don't have an app with this one, as I mentioned, but we will do one thing. And compressed air, 25 over here. 11, 8, 6, 5, 4, 3. Okay, I have to give another one. -1. Whoa, it did stop. Did you see that? Dang, did you see that? Alright. Dang, I'm happy to see this has a low temp cutoff, friends. Whew. It's getting better and better. I don't even know what to say. We'll see. Okay, above 1 degree, 0 degree, and it starts charging again. Nice. Okay, that's this temperature sensor. I want to know what's this one. Let me try with the heat gun here first. It's rising pretty quickly, 40, 45, 47. Oh yeah, it went above 55-ish and then stopped. Let's see what it restore temperature is, hopefully. Ah, 44. So it dropped below 45. Good back, charging, look at that. Nice, okay. That was one of the 2 temperature sensors. Let me try to get you the other one. Alright, I got the other temperature probe, which is this one, disassembled from the BMS heat pad here. So let's see, turning it on. So make sure this one's the other one. Yep, that's the one we have to deal with now. Let's see, I hope you can see that. Turning on the charging. I should see it in a second here. Charging. Okay. Same again like before. Oh, interesting, nothing's happening. Nope, nothing's happening. Interesting, okay. So, just to make sure, this one is the other one, yeah. So, okay, this one is the one from top to BMS. This one is the other one. Yeah, you see that? Okay, it's only reacting, and yeah, it's only reacting with the one which was closer to the cell. That's good. Let's see with the heat. If there's any adjustment. So this one is good. That's interesting. Okay, so right now it is charging. This one does not, so sorry, you don't see it. So right now it's charging. Yep, 10.5. And the one which was connected to the BMS up here does not show in the display up, doesn't change anything, but it looks like it also is capable of stopping and telling the BMS stop charging. You're too warm, you're too cold. Let's do another test, and don't look at the temperature because that will not change. Look at the amperage, how much is going in or not. Nothing's happening with cold. It's not stopping or anything. It's still charging. Okay, let's try the heat. And there it is. It looks like it reacts to heat, but it does not react or act to when it's cold. The second temperature probe. And it looks like it's charging again. We might also have to give it a little grace period. It's switching really quick between cold and hot. Maybe the BMS knows it. Alright, trying again one more time with cold. Oh, it did stop. Nice. Okay, I wasn't patient enough. There we go. They're independent from each other, and we're back already. So that must be very minimal. Nice. That is really refreshing to see. So I didn't show you the bench power supply, but when it showed you letting 0 amp in, I looked over here and checked it. But that is so nice to see. All right, let me stop charging. So this battery actually is better than I expected. Way better than I expected. Unfortunately, it did not pass the capacity test with the advertised 100 amp hour. So I would love to retest it, but I don't know if they will send it again. Anyhow, so I would call it a fail because of the capacity. But when you look at the build quality, I really like what I've seen here, and it even comes with a cold temp cutoff, which is so nice to see. And you could, to be honest, you could put it in a smaller housing, in a at least group 24. I feel like this is even worth it a mini. When you look at that, that could even be a mini battery. But those cells are tiny. Maybe that's why it only has 80 amp hour. So actually, when I look at it, I found it now. Here's a screenshot of the batteries, oh sorry, of the cells. And we see the production date might be, the date looks off, might be in 2019, but unknown. When I changed the order because the scanning wasn't possible, then it looks like this. Then it says production city, Ninja, and production date is in 27, and production date is in the future, 2027. So regardless of the scanner which I have here and use it, I do not know more about this cell. I do see that the build quality is good, the cells are small. If, for whatever reason, if they are 3.2 volt cells with 100 amp hour, it would be amazing. And if they actually are 100 amp hour, I have to take the word from the manufacturer or sell on Amazon. If not, it's a bummer. Regardless, the build quality is awesome. The BMS is huge, which I'm surprised. The wires are awesome. The crimps are nice. Everything's connected. Everything is secure together. That's nice. Even though they did use some adhesive, but high density foam, that's fine. Everything else looks really good and well built. I mean, it even comes with a rubber gasket around the cover when I open up the box, the lid. But put it in a smaller box. Let me know what you think about it. I gave you all my comments, I think, in between. And I would love to know what you think about it, especially when you buy a battery 100 amp hour advertised and labeled, and then it's just 86 inside or 80, whatever it will be. Let me know about those things, especially when the price tag is the same and the competition has, you know, same price, but offers at least 15 amp hours more, 14. Anyhow, I hope you enjoyed that video. Please like the video if I did a good job. And if you want to consider subscribing to the channel, it would be amazing. Thanks for watching. Cheers!